back of a cop car.
Boy, you know you make me float. Boy, you really give me high. Ooh, I feel like I'm on dope. 'Cause you.
What up, y'all? It's your girl JehNotJay back in the building with another banger. Hey man, say man. So look, y'all. You already know I love me some Pop the Balloon, but this person in particular, I just think he was doing a little bit too much. His name was Mr. Des, and BM just brought him back. He did not get a match. He felt like a lot of women ain't hit his quote unquote criteria. He was just real strict for I don't even know the reason for real. I just think like he considered himself to be the top tier, and was like being real hard on the women. And for him to say that he like mature and all these other things, but to step on a balloon to pop somebody, I thought was insane. But we just gonna hop into it, see what he gotta say. Let's just respond. There's nothing else I could do, y'all. All right, BM.
All right, welcome back to BM Talks to Them. So today we actually have Desmond, but he goes by Dr.Des. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Okay. So you was actually on episode 36 of Pop the Balloon and Find Love. Now I want to ask you first, how was your experience on the show?
My experience on the show was phenomenal, and I enjoyed being on the show. I enjoyed meeting new people there and made some good friendship while on the show. So it was remarkably phenomenal.
Okay. So Dr. Des, right?
Yeah.
Let me get straight into it, right? Let's talk about this Des factor that you created. How did that come about? Why did you create that?
So I've been in the dating scene for a little bit now, and I'm looking for a certain caliber of woman. I'm one of those guys that is not timid about sharing their desires. I'm one of those guys that is not shy to express himself honestly. So I was looking for like, what kind of woman will I want? That's where the Des factor come into place, because I'm very unique. I cherish physical beauty. I think women are blessed with certain features, that there's a reason for those features, and I love it. So I said, okay, this is what I want. I want somebody with these certain features of physical appearance, and then appearance is shallow. I understand that. But I go a little bit deeper. If you pass the appearance test, we're going to talk about the intellect, the brain, which is the B portion of the Des factor. So I ask them questions to see how their reasoning is, both qualitative and quantitative reasoning. And also, last but not the least, the character. I want to make sure that it's a woman I can take to my mom. I'm an African man, like I always mention on the show. I'm always an African first. And your mom has to be able to accept your woman, and they're not going to accept a woman without a good character. So that's where the Des factor came from.
Okay, so it's something that you made up yourself. I do want to ask you, do you not think that you need to move on from this Des factor? Because clearly it hasn't worked.
Period. There we go. See, some things you don't even have to say. You feel me? My thing is this, bro. This Des factor brought you this whole way single. You feel me? You want to pop the balloon? You use the Des factor and still left with nobody. And you saying that women need to fit a certain criteria, you don't feel like you as a man don't have to either? Physical appearance, intellect, you don't think those type of things women also want to make sure that you're reaching that as well, their expectations? I just think it's unrealistic to feel like it's a certain, like, I don't know how to explain it. When it comes to dating, for one, I feel like you have to be open minded. Nobody is going to be perfect. There is not a perfect person out there. No one walking this earth is God. They are not. So perfect is out the window. But when it comes to your specifications as a person, you were very strict on the show. Like, it was different type of women. None of them looked the same. None of them walked the same, talked the same, nothing. They all were very different. And I think for you to, you did a disservice not only to yourself but to them by like closing off people based on certain, you feel me, like certain stuff. I feel like it's cool preference wise. Everyone should have their own preferences. Rather you want somebody that's, maybe you like darker skinned women, cool, it's a preference, but that don't mean that you're closed off from dating someone lighter skinned. You know, maybe you like somebody who is taller. That's a preference. However, depending on a woman, you don't mind her being a little shorter because all these other attributes are great attributes, and this is something she just falls short in, which is something she can't control. Just like someone can't control their skin shade. Someone, it's a lot of stuff that we cannot control. So for you to say I need these certain things, like you just, God Himself is crazy. Like, I think it's okay to have preferences and standards. I don't disagree with you having that. Everybody has a preference and a standard. But just because I like one thing don't mean that thing is for me. Everything is not for you. Some stuff is not for us, and that's okay. But that's why you have to move with being able to be open minded, you know? So
No girl has qualified. So don't you think it's time that you find something else?
Well, I wouldn't say no girl has qualified. There's wonderful ladies that I meet every day that meet requirements for the Des factor. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to have a certain score that, above a certain threshold. But then, but then we have to have a common fundamental values. So I still believe, I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm a romantic guy. I believe there is a woman out there for me. And I believe there's actually quality people that I've been talking to and getting to know more. And I'm like, it actually works. I understand that having a criteria like that reduces the dating pool. That's okay. I don't want too many options. I want a limited select few that are high quality that I can pick from. And that's where the Des factor comes in. It limits that pool. So all the people that do not meet those criteria or those qualifications don't make it up to that, that selection.
Okay, so you have your own standards, basically. You have your own standards.
Absolutely, like everyone else.
Okay, no, I hear that. And I must say as well, so today we see you have a new hairstyle. The braids are gone.
braids was crazy, y'all.
Yeah, so what made you get rid of the braids? Because we saw a lot of comments about your hair. About your hair.
God. All right.
What made you decide to...
Yeah,
what's going on?
The story about this braid it's a long story, okay? I live in Indiana. Your show shoots in Arizona, So I had to come in the day before, get in a hotel. I forgot my durag, okay? So I went to bed, got up in the morning. The braids looked terrible. I knew that. Fair enough. All the comments about my braids are fair. They are fair criticisms, okay? There's no much, the highest insult I've ever received in my life was about those braids. The top 3 would be like craplet braids, somebody said boneless braids, skinny leg
Spider-Man.
That Spider-Man braids.
Spider-Man,
Man, for the most part, it was humorous. I find it very, it was humorous, it was funny, and, I read the comments, I respond to the comment, and it was very funny. But here's the story about the braids. I went in there, slept on the braids, got up the next morning, looked at it in the mirror. It didn't look good. I tried my best to get it walked up and straightened up. It didn't look good. I said, you know what? I cannot take this braid to the show because as a high value man, there's a certain way that I have to present myself. So I Googled braiders near me around the Phoenix area within a 20-mile radius. Okay. I found like 4 or 5 places. I drove there. All of them they said that they only do appointments. I offered to pay this lady $300 cash. So cancel this appointment just to do this here because this show I'm going on, I need to present a certain level of branding for myself. I don't want to go there with a braids like that. But there was no way. She has a loyalty to her customer base, and that didn't work out. And I went to Barber Salon. I wanted to cut the braids off and just go my low cut. But again, I couldn't get in before the show shoot. And that's what happened to the braid. I'm sorry to your comment section. My braid was messed up. I mean, it is what it is. It is gone.
Okay.
And by the way, there's no more thing, there's not anything else to insult, you know?
Okay. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this high value man that you keep saying that you are, right? I want to ask you a question. Yeah. Would a high value man stomp on a balloon the way that you did?
Man, that was childish.
Simple answer is no. If you go on my Instagram, I posted a video on that incident, okay? I kind of make fun out of it. It was a spur of the moment. Some people describe me as serious, and others would describe me as funny as well. And this is a clean example. Danielle think I'm a stickler, or I appear to be a serious guy. But if you just rewind that clip a little bit before that, you'll see that I'm actually like, I'm a fun-loving guy. I laugh out loud, and some people would find my laughing irritating, and they don't consider that to be a high-value laugh. I don't even know, but somebody made a comment like that. However, I'm a funny guy. I like to do some goofy stuff once in a while. I think stomping on the balloon was immature on my part, but in no way, shape, or form was it meant to diminish Danielle as a human being, okay? After the show, I reached out to her personally. I said, hey, I reached out to her IG, say, hey, no malice intended. You are a beautiful lady, and I wanted to sincerely apologize first for the stomping on the balloon, and second, for one of the comments, I think I misspoke when I mentioned the aroma. I meant to mention aura. So I feel your aura, your presence, but I said her aroma. So people kind of misconstrued that, thinking that it was about scent or smell or things like that. No, it was actually the presence. So she didn't stink, she didn't smell. I was trying to communicate that it was the aura I was talking about. And by the way, English is not my first language, okay?
Yeah, I could kind of tell a little bit, and that's no like shade to him or anything, but he doing good right now. But what I can say is I can respect the fact that he reached out to her, and I also can respect the fact that he cleared it up out the gate. Like, yeah, I didn't mean to disrespect this woman because that wasn't my intent. You know what I'm saying? So I could give respect to that, absolutely. Um, I just think he had this sense of arrogance, but that could come from, again, he keeps saying he African. I don't really know African culture too well. I consider myself to be black American, like, cause I'm not from Africa. You know what I mean? So when I looking at him, he's truly an African American man. So his, he's from Africa, but he's in America. So the way I look at it, maybe their culture, what he doing isn't considered arrogant. Like maybe I'm misunderstanding him as a person. But here, if your intent is to date American women, it got to be some type of middle ground there, where y'all understand one another. Because the way he was coming was, I don't think that approach gonna work.
I'm from Cameroon, was
Yeah,
bilingual. My mother tongue is different. So sometimes my subject verb agreement may not be perfect. Sometimes my pronunciation may not be perfect.
yeah.
But I do take accountability and responsibility when I misspeak. For that incident, I misspoke about the aroma. It was aura that I meant to communicate.
Okay.
Respect
Well, I
that.
mean, it's good that you took some accountability there. Because I must say, stomping on a balloon like that is very childish.
Yeah,
It is.
If you are talking of a high value man, high value men know how to act, especially when you're being watched by millions of people, right?
period.
So I want to ask you, Dr. Des, what does high value man mean to you?
Okay, I'll make it simple. I know when the lady asked me on the show, it didn't flow the way I wanted it to flow, but everybody knows we go on that show, people get nervous. Okay, high value man, number one thing I want to mention here. A high value man first, you gotta have the income. And that income has to be consistent for a given period of time. So, baseline, 6 figures, okay? You got to make at minimum above a six-figure threshold for a certain period of time. So some people say 3 years, some people say 5 years. I happen to believe if you make more than six figures or more than 5 years, you do fall in a category of a high value man with other stipulations that's supposed to apply. Second thing, education. A high value man is an educated guy. You got to possess at least a certain level of education, formal education. Also, you got to be street smart. Just academics doesn't cut it. A high value man is street smart. You have common sense. You can interact with people. You bring value into people's lives. You bring value into the community. And also, a high value man has valuable relationships. Okay, you're in the midst of other high value men. You keep company of other high value men. You can easily get referral recommendations from other high value men. That relationship is very important. Last but not the least, integrity. Integrity. High value men are not liars. People will come on the show and they'll ask him, do you think your celibacy successful in your relationships? You say, yeah. I mean, what do you mean? If it was successful, you wouldn't be on another dating show. Be honest, man. Just gotta be honest.
So let me
Oh, that was crazy. He came for dude. I ain't gonna lie. He got it there for sure. I definitely think that um that celibacy that celibacy thing, if it was successful, I think he would still be in that relationship too. And that's just I felt the same way when I seen that, but dang, he clocked that. But as far as like the high value man comments that he said, I think when I take some time to think back on what he said, for one, he said some type of formal education. For one, does high value man and successful man come hand in hand? Because if so, we need to recognize that just because a man doesn't have a degree doesn't mean that he's not educated. That doesn't mean that he's not formally educated either. Some people definitely have a lot of intellectual qualities about them that they self got. Like this is all something that they did on their own accord. Maybe they don't have a degree to show for it. However, that doesn't take away from them being intellectual or educated. So I don't know if I can agree with that. He say six figures. Okay. He said six figures for 5 years. What if you lose it after the five? Are you still high value? Yes or no? I just think these stipulations, I don't know, man. I think everyone has their own definition of a high value man. But this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Let's see. A high you Oh, excuse me. A high value man is a term often used in dating circles to describe a man who is perceived as highly desirable due to a combination of factors like financial stability, physical attractiveness, strong character traits like integrity and kindness, ambition, emotional intelligence, and a positive social presence. I mean, it ain't too far off from what he said, but financial stability ain't necessarily six figures. I just want to be completely honest. Like, I think financial stability, six figures is beyond financial stability. In my opinion, you actually well above financially stable. Um, Physical attractiveness, beauty is an eye of the beholder. So what I might find attractive, the next woman may not. Integrity, I can agree with that. Your honesty, a man who can hold to his word, I definitely would consider that to be a high value. Emotional intelligence, yeah, it ain't many men who are emotionally intelligent, so yeah. And a positive social presence. That's not bad either. Let's see what figure is my jaw. I just looked it up, okay? So let's see what figure is considered to be financially stable. I mean, let's see. Cause to me, being financially stable is like living within your means. Like you're not struggling to pay bills and to live in regular consumer means. Maybe you have emergency money in case something is to happen. Like to me, that financial stability is you living within your means without any type of struggles. But to some, I guess a meal could be that. So let me see. This says, while no definitive figure universally defines a good salary, a commonly cited range is between 75,000 and 100,000 annually for individuals for financial stability. That's not even considering how much taxes is taken out of that. So 100K may be the big number, but once your taxes come into play and they come and take their portion, what's that, 60K? But that ain't bad though. Like you're making money, but can you live within your means without struggling? That's that stability. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my mindset. So
Ask you, yeah. So obviously you said that on the show you said as an African man, you need to be older than your woman, right? The last girl that came out, she was 37 years old. She was the same age as you. Now, she could have been older than you by months, right? So you didn't know that, but you kept your balloon. Now, you're basically saying that he has to be older, meaning, is it older by months as well, or is it older by years?
Older by years. So, for example, if I take her to my family,
Right.
if I take her to my family, they'll say, "Oh, this is Crystal. She's 37 years old." Nobody cares about the months. Nobody cares about her. They just want to know how old she is. And then I'm 37, she's 37. That's fine. That's acceptable, traditionally speaking. I want to make a caveat. No, there's a nuance to that statement. When I say as an African man, I'm talking about African traditional values.
yeah, we good.
Traditional values in the African cultural context, usually, men are usually older than the women or their wives. Usually. I know there are exceptions. But all my African brothers and African sisters, they know this to be true. When you take somebody, they say, "Oh, this is my wife, she's older than me." It's not like they're going to oppose the marriage, but there are going to be questions, or they're going to be like, "Why will you go for someone older than you?" Like, you're going to be judged, basically. So I'm just saying that traditional African values, men should be at least older than their wives, because the man is looked at as the leader in the household, the provider in the household, the protector of the household. And sometimes when the lady is older than the guy, respect. If the lady may do something that's not even intentional, but that guy may see that thing as a disrespect because she's older than you. You know, those are some of the things that make us who we are. And I know that right now we live in a conventional society. Everybody wants to do things conventionally, the way the Western world does. I still have some African traditional values that I still respect and I still want to honor, even though I am a Western guy, but I still have African traditional values.
So how comes the last girl, she was the same age as you? You was not older than her by years. You said that the guy has to be older than the girl by years. How comes you was going to go for her?
Contradicting.
Honestly, you want me to be frankly honest with you about this last lady? I felt like the rate and speed at which I was popping my balloon because of age was a little bit too much, and it may give a wrong impression to the audience that I wasn't there to look for love. So I wanted to give Crystal, I think her name is Crystal, right? I wanted to give her a chance. I'm like, okay.
For the audience, everything that you did should have been for you. That's why it comes off as not authentic, just based on something like that. Like at the end of the day, if you don't find somebody attractive, then you shouldn't be with them. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think, yeah, you gotta start doing, making decisions for you and doing what is best for you. And at the end of the day, it's not about the audience. It's not about what they see, what they do, what they hear. If you truly looking for love, you don't care about the audience. You gonna make whatever decision is best for you.
The age is because normally my age preference is not even. I don't want somebody that was the same age preferentially. I may make some exceptions if other qualities outweighs the age. I may make some exceptions. We live in America. I wanted to give her a chance. I wanted to see what else. I wanted to at least have opportunity to talk about the other aspects of the Des factor because most of it ended at appearance. So I thought she was going to be a good one that we can go a little bit further. Honestly, my age preference is a mature 24-year-old to 35-year-old. That's my preference. As a man, I want to give at least 2 years. But I can leave my balloon for certain exceptions, like Crystal was one of them. She was 37. I'm like, okay, this one I can bring to the family and say, hey, this is my babe. She's 37. There'll be no judgment. But that was it.
Looking at yourself on the show, right? You say that you're a high value man, but would a high value man act the way that you acted on that show?
There's a reason why it's called a show. This is not a movie. This is not anything else. This is a show. And a show has to have sparks.
No, my
However-
question is, would a high value man act the way that you acted on the show? So the way you're starting asking that question is as if like you plan to act like that for the show.
No, absolutely not.
So
I'm a
would a
show
high
guy.
value man, act the way you acted? Yes or no?
No. Okay. To answer your
Okay,
question,
so you said no.
wait. To answer your question,
You said no. You said a high value man would not act like that, right?
I was saying that stumping the balloon, a high value man would not do that. That was the only immature thing that happened on that show that I don't think a high value man would do in any situations like that.
But that culture difference may be why I see it the way I see it. Like, to me, he was very immature. And for you to say, oh, well, it's a show, that might be true, but if the intent is to look for love, whether it's a show or not, you're going to look for love. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
I think stomping on the balloon was immature. I expressed that already. But the way I carried myself throughout the rest of the show, it reflects high value. You know, if you look at my outfit, people make comment about my outfit. I'm not afraid to say where I shop. I'm not going to come and lie that I shop at Gucci, Versace, Louis Vuitton to be high value. No, I shop at Men's Warehouse. They don't pay me to say that, but they have quality products that I like. That suit, that's why I got it. People say something about my shoes. That shoe's a $300 pair of shoes. It's not expensive. It's not cheap either. So I'm just saying, a high value man, when you're talking about a high value man, you're looking at me. I am, if you look at the lineup on the show and they say, okay, without the show airing, just the pictures or the first video on the lineup, they say point one high value man on that picture. Guess who they're going to point? They're going to point me. Why? Because you see me, you see value.
Okay, Desmond, let me just be completely honest with you, okay?
Yeah?
If anybody is to talk about that episode, they're just going to talk about how you acted on that episode. Because all the girls that came out, I cannot remember one thing that the girls said that was out of line or that was wild towards you. But the only person that I can remember, one of the persons I can remember the most that said so many things was you. That was out of pocket or wild. It was you, right? So I'm basically trying to make you understand, right? If you watch that episode and you did not reflect on yourself, on how you acted, then you need to know that you are the problem.
facts. You're not going to find nobody like
I
that.
agree.
You see, this is the thing.
And it's not that I don't want love for him, bro. Everybody deserves love, I think. Like, to an extent, I want everybody to find love, but it's just, at some point, we got to take some accountability for ourselves. Like, you almost
Okay, that's
40.
good. It's good that, obviously, man to man, right? If you're looking for love, right, you have to be ready. You have to make sure that you are a better version of yourself before you even think about dating or getting in a relationship, especially a serious relationship. Because the first thing you need to do before you even enter a serious relationship is fix yourself. You need to be able to fix yourself because the person that you are dating is not going to fix you. You need to fix yourself first. So when you come on the show and you see how you act, you need to go back and rewatch that show and actually think, oh wait, this is the reason why I'm single. When I got my assistant to call you, she told me, yeah, he speaks very well. I think he's gonna do well on the show. So obviously when I spoke to you as well, I was like, yeah, you know what? You got your life together. I think you're gonna do very well. So the way you acted on the show was completely surprising to me because the way
Yeah.
you the way you are, the way you carry yourself, you're well put together. So now you need to match it with you have to match it with actually acting right.
Gotcha. You know, to be honest with you, going back, reflect. I went back and watched it twice. One thing I want to say is this: every human being have some form of a death factor. Because I express that clearly and vividly, it makes it sound unrealistic. But every lady, every guy, they have specifications on the kind of guy they want. I gave you an example of a height. So nobody can change their height. Why would you judge somebody because they're short? Why wouldn't you want to date a short guy? That's one of it. We're talking about income. Yeah, people can change their income. Ladies do not want to date broke guys. That's a fact. They say it every time. If you don't have your back, I'm not going to date you. That's another thing. It's a criteria, it's a specification, it's a preference. So the death factor is my preference. If you want to be with me, that is my preference. And likewise, I expect you to have your own preference. I don't want you to just follow me because, I am this person. You come with your preference, I come with my preference, we meet halfway. Do you know why men cheat on their wives or why women cheat on their partners? Because people compromise a lot. I can, in terms of compromise, 80%, 80-20. So I can, for the person that I like, if they have 80% of what I want in a partner, I'll take it. I'll know that 20% of their shortcomings, the 80 supersedes that. But for me to reduce that percentage to 50 or to 10, I cannot do it. There's somebody for everybody out there. I talk about the physical, the physique. I am a man that likes certain features. If you want me to reduce that or to compromise on that, and I take a lady with a flat butt, then I'm walking on the beach with that lady, turn my eyes, I'm seeing all this nice beauty. Man, what do you think's gonna happen? My eyes gonna be stuck on it. But if I'm walking with my babe that has everything I want, there's no reason for me to look out there. And that's what people are missing in life.
Okay, Desmond.
I just maybe it's something in me that's a little different, okay? I'm not saying that I'm comfortable. I'm not saying that I want to date somebody short. I'm not saying that. But where I can compromise is I don't want to date no one shorter than me. And I am 5'3". So, with that being said, anyone who is above 5'3" has a great chance with me. I do not want a short guy, but I am also short. So, anything is pretty tall in comparison to myself. Now, if I say I want somebody over 6 feet, I am being unrealistic because the average man isn't even 6 foot. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I understand what he's saying, but it's limitations when it comes to preference. You know what I mean? Like, I for sure want to date somebody who is black. Absolutely. Like, I want to create that black love, that black family dynamic. I want that. You know what I mean? I don't think that's unrealistic. There are lots of black people. But am I saying that I need a man to be the exact same shade as I, as far as like brown skin? No, I'm not, because black is beautiful in so many different shades. I'm not going to limit myself to one shade, but I will limit myself to one group. I will limit myself to one type of person. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I am, I wouldn't consider myself necessarily a Christian. I believe in some Christian values, but I don't really like moving with titles too much. But trust and believe I do follow God, the Holy Spirits, Jesus Christ. I know them. And I would want to be with somebody who is also God fearing. I don't think that's unrealistic though, because I'm sure it's people out there just like that. But to say, I'm not going to date an atheist. That's out the door. But there's not just 10 Christians on earth. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's certain stuff, like, I just think some stuff is just too specific. Like, you can like a woman with a thicker build. There are women out there who have those pear-shaped bodies, absolutely. But her body can change. Pregnancy, sickness, are you still gonna take her in? Like, what does that look like? Like, it's just so many factors to it. Like, I feel like all of us should have a standard preference. Like I said, I want somebody taller. I want somebody to be the same ethnic group as me. They don't have to have the exact same religion, but we definitely need to be following the same God. um, they don't have to have the same traditions I had growing up, but we need to be equally yoked. You know what I mean? Like, we have to have some type of understanding. They have to be, good at communication. They don't have to be excellent, but they have to be good at it. Like, it's just certain stuff that makes sense, but then there are some things that's too much, you know? Like, we have our preferences, but I don't think that 9 times out of 10, your preference isn't always exactly what you're with either. Because your preference is just what you like, it's what you prefer. You know what I'm saying? I prefer a burger without an egg on it. But if I see a burger with an egg on it, I'm not opposed to trying it. If that's the only burger there is, I'm not opposed. I might like it. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that's the difference here. Like, and maybe he doesn't see what exactly is meant by that, but like I said, I could like vanilla ice cream. That's my preference. It's not my favorite, but let's just use it as an example. I prefer vanilla, but y'all ran out of vanilla. So now I have to choose between cookie dough, you feel me, mint, ice cream, and caramel. I know for a fact I'm not picking caramel. There are some things that are non negotiables. Caramel, out the door. But we looking at, it was mint, caramel, and let's say it was cookie dough. Technically, cookie dough is vanilla ice cream with cookie dough in it. Even though I want that vanilla, but y'all don't got it, I'll get cookie dough this time. It's cool. No sweat, But I prefer that vanilla. But y'all don't got it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of how I feel about it. Like, and maybe this is just a me thing. I feel like, for one, it ain't even about having a whole bunch of options, but it's also about being open, because what God has prepared for you may not look like what you thought it looked like. Just like when you pray to God, my mom always said, be careful what you pray for. Be careful what you pray for, because you can get what you prayed for and it not look like what you thought it would look like. Like, you ever prayed for somebody to not suffer no more and they pass away? You don't want them to pass away, but they ain't gonna suffer when they with God. They're not gonna suffer up there. You know what I'm saying? So what you pray for, you actually did get. It just don't look the way that you wanted it to look. So be careful what you pray for. This is the same way.
Are you single?
Yep, he is.
It's a
I
question.
am
Are you
single.
single?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're single, right?
Hmm.
So something that you're doing is not working.
I'm on a
So
path
that's
to a
why I'm saying
relationship though.
that's not what I'm saying to you is, like, sometimes when you're single, right? You probably might have a lot of people who around you that might be single as well. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? So sometimes people that are single will give you advices that you think is the right advice, right? You think, yes, what you're doing is right. Maybe they don't see what you're doing, right? But say, for instance, if you go and get advice from a lot of people who are in a relationship or they are married, they're probably going to see what wrongs you're doing, and they'll tell you to adjust the wrongs that you're doing in order to get the results that you want. Like, by me just watching you on that show, I would tell you, Desmond, like, you are well put together, but the way that you acted on that show made it seem like you wasn't trying to find love.
Facts.
Apart from the stomping on the balloon, what other actions portray that I wasn't, the way I was acting was of low value? apart from the stomping on the balloon.
Spoke to the women.
No,
people.
I'm not saying that you was acting low value. I'm saying that you was doing too much. Like you was just saying things. First of all, a lot of stuff that you said
What I believe.
wasn't make what you believe. The Des
What you
factor
say
is
is
what
how
you
you say
believe,
it,
right?
Des.
Okay. Let's start with the first girl that came out, right? The first girl comes out and the first thing you say is that I have a Des factor and you don't fit any of that.
Yeah, that
You
was
didn't
No,
pass the what do you
appearance. It
just
doesn't fit
what
appearance.
okay, why don't you just say, oh,
Just say
you
not
know,
physically attractive.
something simple. Why don't you just say, oh, appearance wise, you know what, something that
That's what I said.
I'm not
If you
into.
watch the
No,
video
but
for
you
the
you
first
have to
girl,
talk about the Des factor. You have to talk about all this stuff to make you sound like you are high value for producing the Des factor.
I
That is
am
doing
actually
too
high
much.
value. I'm not trying to make myself sound like it. I am it. I am it. So it wasn't, most people see that as an act because they don't know me. But if you know me in real life, ask my friends, they'll tell you. It's the way I talk. Sometimes my voice is always going to be louder, but that's the way I talk. Most of my family members, when we're talking, you think we're having an argument. We're not. That's how we speak. We speak with a certain level of confidence. We speak with a certain level of clarity. And, I am an educated guy, so my choice of words are refined. Okay, so when I mention some of those things,
It has nothing to do with you having a great form of intellect. It's about reading the room. It's about reading the room. You are not. I don't remember where he said he was from. It's not ringing a bell to me right now. But you are not there. So the women here are not going to. They're not going to react the way that you're probably accustomed to. You're not at Cameroon. That's where he said. You're not there, sir. You're in America. And women don't like that approach. I'm sorry. Read the room. Sometimes you have to have social awareness. And it wasn't necessarily what you said, but saying she doesn't fit the Des factor. It's insane. Versus saying, hey, you're not attractive to me. Or I don't find you physically attractive. And I feel like somebody would accept that way more than saying, hey, you don't pass my test. Like, okay, fuck your test, you know?
follow structure. I didn't come there with those things. Some people say I was going from a script. There was no script. There was no script. I am evaluating what I see. I do evaluation on a daily basis. I can tell you about the nursing process. You assess, you diagnose, you plan, you implement, you evaluate. And throughout the show, was going through my head repeatedly. Evaluate and reevaluate. And that's why, as we get closer, I try to be giving more people opportunity and chances for them to express themselves. Let me address one thing you mentioned about why am I single, or if I'm looking for love, or men age like fine wine. I'm in no hurry. I gotta meet the right person. If I meet the right person, we will date, we will be together, we will have a partnership. If I don't meet the right person, I am not gonna compromise. I am not afraid to be single. I'm okay. I have a lot of flexibilities right now. If I want to be in London tomorrow, I'll be in London tomorrow. I have nobody to answer to. Nobody answers to me. I'll be in London tomorrow. I like that part of my life, but I also want a partner that can have that level of independence. I have traditional African values, but most women think that because I said those things on the show, I'm sounding narcissistic, or I can be controlling and all of those things. Get to know me as a normal human being. Talk to my friends who tell you who am I. I am very easygoing. When the situation calls for being serious, I will be serious. If the situation calls for being calm, I'll be your calm. I'll be your peace. If the situation calls for just being fun, hang out, get a cigar, go to the bar, get a drink, get shots, I'll do that. I'm the life of the party. Wherever I go, I'm the life of the party. And
Okay.
that's what it
Pass your
is.
test first. Like, that's
Okay.
what you're not.
So let me give you an example, right, Desmond, right? This guy that you see here, this guy, look at him, Desmond. He's a cool guy. I've spoken to you. You're actually a cool guy, right?
Thank you, man.
Now,
Thanks for saying that. That actually lifts me up a
right,
little
okay.
bit.
Okay, so if you look at me, right? When you said to me, when I spoke to you, you said to me, "Right, BM, I didn't know that you're a musician and you're very down to earth." What did you say? You found out that I made some songs that you know of, right? But how do I act in front of people?
You are a gentle guy, okay? There are people like you,
Okay.
and we need those people like you in this world. And we need people like me. We have to coexist.
Okay, so let me give you an example now, right, Desmond, right? You see the way I am? I wouldn't go out there and start talking like this. I am a high value man. I have the BM factor. If you don't qualify
You
for
do
the
have the
BM
BM
factor,
man. Come on.
yes, but the thing is, I don't need people to see me in that state for them to think that I'm high value. I'm just very down to earth. Do you kind of get the point? Other people are seeing you as you're doing too much. When if you just act like this, like how you are right now, it's great. It's balance. That's what I think the people are basically just seeing. They're just seeing like you may be thinking that you are you was the best one out there in the lineup. You get what I'm saying? You know how the world sees people, right?
You gotta think
And
best
also-
of yourself, bro. Yeah, I know. It's it's just something that some of us were born, especially coming from where we came from. We're born with an innate quality of like self-confidence. You don't have to tell me to be confident. You don't have to boost my morale or my self-esteem. We grow up. We've learned a lot of resiliency throughout the process. I've been in poverty. I've seen suffering. And I've seen money. So I know both lives. So sometimes when I talk about certain things, it's coming from a hard-earned experience that I have gone through. So no one can beat down my confidence wherever I go and I speak of myself as a founder and CEO of Platinum Care Health Solutions. That's my brand. People thought
But you could like one thing and not disrespect another thing, bro. Like,
that I came on the show just to sell my business or sell my brand. No, I am part of my brand. If you ask me to introduce myself, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Desmond. People will call me Dr.Des. And I am the founder and CEO of Platinum Care Health Solutions. Period. That's
That's
me.
another thing as well. But that's what you don't see. I'm trying to tell you, Desmond, that you're not seeing what you did wrong by saying that you are the founder of this multiple times. It comes across as you're trying to promote something. You're not really there trying to find love. So
Okay.
what I say to you, when I say to you, Desmond, you're gonna. I feel like you always have to find an excuse to back up anything that people tell you about yourself.
Gotcha.
And that's the number one thing that you need to do in life. Reflect on what people are saying to you, because all those tens of thousands of comments, right? There must be some truth in what some of these people are saying. Not saying all of them. I'm saying some of them. There must be some truth. That's what. All I'm saying is this: people that come on the show, just reflect upon some of these things, and I guarantee you, like if you was to come back on the show and you matched, it would be a different story. Right? And also, you keep saying that you're an African man, you're an African man. I know a lot of African men that don't act like you.
Bro,
The ones that act like you, they're always going to be judged. They're always going to be, talked about as the way that they act.
yeah. And there's one more accountability part. There's one more accountability part I want to bring on. Tamir, the lady with the green dress. Yes, the honest truth about Tamir. I know I mentioned something about her legs and, the age or something like that. Tamir is a beautiful lady. Tamir, if that show was structured in a way that the people say their name and where they are from originally before we even, I would have made exceptions for Tamir. I would have compromised a lot. Let me not say a lot. I would have made an exception with Tamir because Tamir is exactly her energy, her aura captivate me even till today. I talked to Hamach, the firefighter guy. I said, man, Tamir, treat that lady right, okay? Because she's actually a very good lady. She's actually very sweet. I can tell. I have a certain level of instincts. I can tell. I wouldn't have fought with Tamir. I would have made an exception with Tamir, and I would have loved to get to know Tamir more. After the show, I think I also sent her a message. I said, hey, Tamir, I'm so sorry about the comment I made about your legs. It's just there are certain things that I'm looking for, like I explained, but she's very fun, and she was okay with it,
But do you see, and I like the fact that you took accountability there, because do you see what people are talking about? Also, what I always keep talking about, I keep saying this on the show, you don't know how somebody is really like in that space that you have when you come on the show. You're thinking quick, right? But when you started talking about your Des Factor stuff, you are automatically blocking all of this that you might like her. You're not even giving her a chance because you have this death factor form that she has to pass. Do you get what I'm saying? If you didn't think about that death factor, you could have ended up matching with someone like her. Obviously, she matched already, but I'm just saying, like, if you didn't even have that thought, you would have been like, you know what? Let me match and then see how it goes. But at the same time, after the show, you realize that, wow, like, you could have matched with her. And was there somebody else that you wanted to match with that you didn't match with?
Gigi was one that, you know, I left my balloon on pop for Gigi. Gigi is a very dedicated lady. She's been through the rigor of military service, and anyone that has gone through that process, you know, has a certain level of stamina and rigor, and, you know, I like that about Gigi. And Gigi also, even after all that, she's still humble. The way she speaks, the way she carries herself.
Right.
I left my balloon on pop for Gigi. I mean, for her, I know most people seem to believe that I was too shallow when it comes to the eye contact. I don't know how it is for Congolese or for Congo, but I know in Cameroon, if I'm talking to my parents, my teacher, someone I respect, I'm looking them in the eye, that's disrespect. You know, that's disrespect. So if I know that in the military, you have to be looking at whoever you're talking to with the eye. That's a lot. That shows respect. That shows that you're engaging in conversation. And I just see that some back and forth that we may have problems going down the road, you know, just because of things like that. So
I mean,
you
could have asked her. Just a simple thing. You could have asked her about what does that mean to you. And then maybe she might have said, oh,
she
no.
explained that because she was talking to Ice. Ice was looking her in the eyes, you know, and that's what she valued a lot about Ice. That's one of the things she listed, you know. So I'm like, if that means a lot, that much to you, means this much significance to you, yeah, I may not meet that threshold on that, because sometimes I may avoid eye contact just out of respect.
No, but what I'm saying is that, but what if you ask her and say, oh, I may avoid eye contact because of this, and then she agreed? What if that happened?
Then maybe it would have matched.
Yeah, you ain't asked.
Okay.
So.
So moving forward, what have you learned about yourself from this whole experience?
This experience taught me there are many people that cannot accept the honest truth. They want you to sugarcoat the truth. They want you to tell it in a way that's pleasing to them. I am a straight shooter. I am an honest man. If you are asking me a question, you should be prepared to know the answer. I know there is tact when it comes to answering questions. I can do that in a professional setting. But if it's me and you, man to man, or in a dating show, fast and fast, you know, as we say in French, it's, you know, I have a very short time to respond to you. I don't have time to go and sugarcoat it. If you want to know something about yourself that you're asking me, I'll give you an honest review. And I just don't want people to have the impression that I'm an arrogant guy. There's a difference between honesty and directness with arrogant, okay? So I am direct.
But on this podcast, you have said that you took some accountability on how you acted, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying to you. If you see that there's a lot of people talking about certain things, maybe you need to make adjustments a little bit, you know, to get the results that you want.
That's true.
And yeah.
And that's
and
why the braid is gone. The braid is gone. That's an adjustment.
Right, you made an adjustment, right? So the first step is taking accountability, and that's what life is about, you know. Yeah. All right, well, bro, thank you for coming on the podcast, and yeah, I do hope that people see a different side of you. You know, they see that how you really are, which is like this, and I hope that in future, we see different results. And comment down below if you want to see Dr. Des back on the show again.
Wait, what?
Leave your comments down below. Yeah.
Can I add something here? You know, I said I contacted Danielle about that. Danielle hasn't responded to me yet. I think she's probably still upset. So I don't know if I can slide in a little bit of an apology to her on this episode. I just said, Danielle, if you're watching this, you know, I did send you a comprehensive message in your DM. I know we're not friends on IG. However, I meant no disrespect. I'm sorry if my actions made you to feel a certain type of way. I misspoke when I talked about aroma. I meant aura. And I'm sorry about stomping my balloon. That came out as rude. I was immature of me. And I'm sorry about that, Danielle. So no hard feelings right here. And that's my outrage.
Wow.
And
Great.
for
That's great.
wait. And for Tamia was the most beautiful lady on that show. Let me be honest with you. One, if I want to say that, who Tamia was the most beautiful when it comes to my level of abstraction lady on that show in terms of her presence. She's the kind of person I feel like her energy, nothing else will matter but her energy. The way she speaks, her dental, her hygiene. Man, anyways, that's it. I'm a cool guy. I don't like problems. I'm easygoing. I love to have fun. I make jokes. I love to laugh, and if you're watching this and you're still wondering, if you want a guy that will make you laugh, if you want a God-fearing man, if you want a high-value man, I'm right here.
Okay, Des. This the Okay, Des. I don't know what to say. Anyway, let's read the comments, y'all. Stumping on balloons, that's clown activity. Yeah, BM made with that, not gonna lie. A high value man doesn't have to declare that he is high value. He knows it. The women know it. Other men know it. It doesn't have to be said. It's as if he's trying to convince himself and others. I felt the same way. A woman that's attractive don't have to keep saying that she attractive. She doesn't. She doesn't have to ask to get rated 1 out of 10. She doesn't. Salute to the stylist that didn't turn her back on her customers for money. Yeah, that's what's up. I mean, I feel like they could have slid him in real quick. He only had like 3 braids, but whatever. I think I understand what's happening. Dr. Des, I think you meant well. I do too. I just think it's a culture difference. And dating, two humans are getting to know each other. No human wants to be explicitly evaluated because you feel as though there's a test to pass. Absolutely. Dating shouldn't feel like passing a test, facts, and perhaps that is a turn off. So it's okay to be structured and skilled in evaluating, but let that be an internal process. When you've decided that someone isn't your cup of tea, let them down easy with dignity and grace. So I get what BM is saying. Dating is personal, human, and fallacies and energy exchange. We're just facilities. I don't know. The explicit judgment evaluating energy is not so much appropriate for the dating space. Much luck to you, Dr. Des, again. I think you meant well, but big ups to BM. I think he meant well. I think his approach was bad. I think the cultural difference may be an issue because he's not too educated on American culture the way that he is with his own, in Cameroon, like he said, like a lot of things are very different. But with that being said, even when it came to the girl who wanted somebody with that eye contact, like being said, he could have had that extra conversation. So I just think it was a lot of things, especially if he has a hard time, like he said, his English, like it's a communication barrier to an extent. So all of those things could be factors as well. I just hope that he's learned something from this conversation with BM, who dropped some gems, and I hope he learned from there. There are two different versions of African men. May we all be protected from the Desmond type. Okay. As a Nigerian, those as Des traditional African household values, of course, in these days of our parents, it was very common that our fathers were much older than our mothers. Now, although it's preferred the man is older, like in most cultures, it is not a requirement, and it isn't automatically a deal breaker. Many of my friends who are getting married, who are West African, AA, or even Caribbean, some of their wives are older, respectfully. Don't make that comment on an African rule. Much love to BM and Arlette. Wow. Well, maybe he just strict on what he feels. Maybe. Let's read one more. He was also on the Kendra G single show days before filming on our Let's show. High volume men don't have to seek through multiple platforms if they were so desire and wanted. Mm. Well, there you go. There you have it. I don't really know if there's any other way that I don't know if there's any other way that can be explained for real. Like, what else could be said, you know? I feel like the comments already feel the way that they feel, and I think the unfortunate thing about this is this show is this show is shown to so many groups of people. I mean, look at this, 28,000 views. That's a lot of people. Like, believe it or not, that's a lot of people. So I don't know. I still wish him well. He might not be for me, but he for somebody. Cause he ain't for me, like I said. But I still wish him well. I hope he does find love. I hope that he take this as a learning experience to further, what's next for him, and you know, he'll find better. Everything will get better for him, hopefully, and maybe he can tweak certain things to become better. I mean, he changed his hair. He learned something. Hopefully, we get beyond that. I don't know. But I appreciate y'all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know what you think. And I'm gonna catch y'all later. So
I can see me sitting in the back of a cop car, banging my head on a window. I can see me slamming that last cop shot glass with an